I'm Bob Frank. I'm the president of the University of New Mexico, and I'm pleased to welcome you to this momentous occasion, the groundbreaking for the Lobo Rainforest Building. I'd like to recognize one or two people in this crowd. This is a crowd filled with very important people. Among the people in the crowd, there are two representatives that are important, Representative David Adkins, and Representative Ortiz y Pino. So we'd like to thank them for coming down. They're there. And I'd also like to recognize Regent Jamie Cook. Where's Regent Cook? Regent Cook was on the board when this came into being, so he was a big part of this being approved by the regents, and so he made this happen in many ways. But of course, almost everybody in this crowd has had something to do with this happening. This building's about partnerships, it's about collaborations, and as you hear everybody speak today, you realize that this couldn't have come to be without many, many people coming together, working collaboratively to make this happen. It's a result of efforts that we began 3 years ago when we planted some seeds and began to look at how we could work together to make an ecosystem that would come together to bring people that would work to create entrepreneurship here in our city, that would take the ideas that are created at the University of New Mexico, partner with our students, partner with our businesses, partner with our city and county leadership to create something that would create a unique economic ecosystem, to bring together ideas, talent, and capital as nutrients, and to create a fertile bed of knowledge that would spur creativity and concepts that would bring to Albuquerque more businesses that would stay in Albuquerque, stay in New Mexico, and create more businesses for us. And through that idea came this idea for Lobo Rainforest. Right here we will build a 16,000 square foot building. It will house our own STC, which is headed by Lisa Kudla right here, which includes the Checky Venture Lab, which is an incubator for businesses. It'll house Innovate New Mexico. Where's Rob Del Campo? Rob Del Campo's out here. Rob Del Campo heads Innovate New Mexico. He's done a fantastic job leading that. And our Innovation Academy is growing great ideas, brings our students down there, and Nusenda will have a presence there as well, and Terry Laudick will talk about that in 1 second. So working with our partners in the community, we'll have startups, and these little seedlings will grow, we think, to full-scale businesses here. So let me give you a little idea about how this works. Some of you have heard about IntelliSite. IntelliSite's a corporation that manufactures and sells instrumentation and software that facilitates the study of cells. If you've been paying attention to the business news, you might have noticed that they recently sold for $90 million. It was one of STC's first startups. It began 10 years ago, and it worked with STC through the Checky Venture Lab, and it has a shining record of success with 68% increase in sales through their IQ screening systems. It has 50 employees, and it's sold to a German company, but it's going to stay right here in New Mexico, and it's this type of business that we believe will grow through the Lobo Rainforest and become common in the types of things that we think will happen here. I'd like to thank Lisa Kudla and STC for all the work they've done to make this possible today. I'd also like to thank three critical partners that helped us get here today. One's going to speak in a minute. That's Terry Laudick, president of Nusenda. The second is Mayor R.J. Berry, and the third is the County Commission. Without those three critical partners, this wouldn't have happened today. They came together at critical moments and really gave a lift when we all needed this to happen. I want to thank them for their vision, their energy, and their wisdom of recognizing that we can make great things happen in New Mexico. So let me introduce my friend and visionary, Terry Laudick.
Thank you, President Frank, and congratulations to you and the university on this catalytic moment for Lobo Rainforest and Innovate ABQ. A very special thank you to you, President Frank, for your vision and for taking the strength and desire to reach out to others here in the community, such as myself and the mayor, and ask us to partner with you in such an event and an economic building opportunity. I will never forget the meeting whereby the mayor and myself were asked to make a small presentation to the regents, where Regent Cook and Regent Gallegos were very blatantly pointed as to why in the hell would you want to do this? You've got to tell us. And that was not the kind of reception I was expecting, but I did appreciate it very much so, as they were doing their diligence in protecting the taxpayers' money also. But what it did bring forth was this opportunity for collaboration, the opportunity for not only the public sector between the county, the state, the city, and the university and the community college to come together, but also to invite those of us from the private sector to pitch in and help in our own creation of new economic viability for New Mexico. It's taken an awful lot of people to come forth and do this. It has not been a simple feat. As what was mentioned, it's been a little over 3 years since the first seeds were planted. It's been amazing, the people who have staunchly put forth their own personal time and commitment, ideas, and taken the opportunity to share in those ideas and those challenges. I have to give special thanks to Lisa Kutula from STC. She has been there as my right hand, if not actually as my leader, in keeping me focused and keeping my efforts focused with the board of Innovate ABQ, and also her staff. And a very special commendation to Tom Neal out of the real estate division of the university, who has been there each and every step in helping to negotiate these contracts and these agreements to bring about this first new building. I also need to thank not only what you see up here are 4 or 5 of my fellow board members of Innovate ABQ, from the Lieutenant Governor, the President of the University, our Mayor, and Lonnie Talbert from the county, but the other members of the Innovate ABQ board who have put forth an enormous amount of time and effort in leading this development. Pat Vincent Kalan is Vice Chair. Also in the crowd today we have Chuck Wellborn, who is our Treasury Secretary. We also have David Harris from the university, Richard Larson from Health Sciences Center. Dr. Kathy Winograd is our most recent addition to the Innovate ABQ board from CNN. We also have Jeff Apodaca, Carlos Perea, Jessica Eves Matthews, Juanita Tuttle, Terry Laudick. Which one am I missing? Anybody? I think that's all of them. We appreciate all of their efforts as they've come forward. This has not been by any means a ceremonial board. Many of these folks serve on 3 and 4 active committees and are meeting on a monthly basis and have put in an enormous amount of personal time to get us to this point. Again, congratulations and thank you to the university for stepping forward and making this momentous commitment to growing Albuquerque and New Mexico. With that, I'd like for you to welcome our mayor, Richard J. Perry.
Good morning. So we talk about new days a lot. It's a new day. Sometimes that gets overused, I think. But today is a new day, for real. And I'm going to tell you why I think that is in just a minute. But before I do that, I want to just really sincerely thank everybody that's here. You know, I love my university. Man, I'm a Lobo. I came here in 1982. I had like a 1978 Oldsmobile with a pole vault and pole strapped to it with duct tape. I mean, that's what I had. And this university took me as a young man and shaped me into what I am today. My experiences at UNM really have affected me throughout my life. So when I see my university succeed, it means a lot to me personally. And we're succeeding today because we have a great president of our university in Bob Frank. You know, we've been through some presidents and everybody's been a fine individual. There's no problem with that. But Bob has really taken his vision for this university. He's worked with his faculty, he's worked with his staff, and he's taken my university in a direction that I like to see it go. So Bob, thank you for your leadership. We appreciate you very much. It's also a new day because we've got a guy sitting here that took $3 million of private sector money and brought it to a public-private partnership. I'm talking about Terry Laudick and Nusenda Credit Union. That's not normal around here. We have great corporate partners on almost everything we do in Albuquerque, but that is an enormous investment to make. And we wouldn't be here if he wouldn't have had the courage to go in front of his board, his stockholders, if you will, his members, and say, listen, this is an investment worth making. And it's not just an investment in the university, it's an investment in us. It's an investment in our place and in our city. So Terry, thank you for your courage and your leadership. And then we've got the county commission here. We've got the state of New Mexico here. We've got elected officials both from the Senate and from the House. We've got business leaders, people who've taken time out of their busy lives to contribute to this. And so for all these reasons, it's a new day. Public-private partnerships are important. They're the way of the future. If you look around the country and you look at what's happening that matters, it's almost always now a public-private partnership. We haven't always been good at that. We're cracking the code. We have folks like Cigna, we have folks like Gary Goodman, we have folks that have stepped up to the table here to make sure that we have these opportunities, and they have to take risk. So at the end of the day, what we're doing here is we're taking risk on behalf of the next generation of leaders for us. We're investing in the students and the young folks in New Mexico. We're investing in those researchers who have the capability of coming up with the next to be able to commercialize research that they do at the university. And I don't know if Dr. Larson's here, or anybody from the medical side. I'm looking out in the crowd. But some of the finest research in the country, in the world, is done right here in Albuquerque. So I'm proud to be a small part of this. If you come down here next fall, you're going to see cranes moving on this property. I see the folks from Jane's here, great local company. These are real families making a real living building this project, so thanks to Jane's. Right across the street, if you look over the railroad tracks, there's going to be another $35 million project that we're going to kick off this fall. That's the First and Central development. Another project where our city council, your city council, said yes to taking the land that's now just a parking lot and trying to turn that into something better, more useful. Just like we did with the Imperial Building, taking that land, and now we're going to have a grocery store. We're going to have more housing downtown. So anyway, the most important thing is we got to yes as a community. We found a way. Hurdle after hurdle, obstacle after obstacle, we sat down and we said yes. Yes to Albuquerque, yes to our students, yes to investing, and yes to our future. So I'm just super proud of everybody that's here. Thanks for letting me be a little bit of this. Now my good friend, and maybe the best dressed guy here, Lonnie Talbot.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to stand here today representing the Bernalillo County Commissioner. And it's an honor because 3 years ago, I was asked to go on the trip with President Frank, Terry Laudick, Mayor Barry, and a number of others, Lisa, to go check out what was a innovation site in Gainesville, Florida. 3 years later, we're here now doing it ourselves. Now, many of you would say, wow, 3 years, God, that seems like forever. But when you're putting together the private-public partnerships that we are, and you see this stage of people working together, that's not that long. That really is just the beginning. That really is just the start. This is, as Mr. Laudick stated, a catalytic event that is going to continue to push this city forward and put us into a place that others envy. We envy it because we know what is here. We already know what we can do. Others are starting to notice. And when you think of the term partnership, you think of all the things that have happened in the last 3 years. Living cities, Bloomberg, the running starts for careers, public-private. All of these things are happening around us, and this is just the next step. The epicenter that we took the first stage and started to put something in place so that others could start to figure out what we're doing. And then finally, I want to thank my county commissioner colleagues. Without their support, this would not have been possible. And to our economic development team that put together the MOU so that we could all be successful with our donation to this project, I thank them for their hard work. I now would like to introduce Lieutenant Governor John Sanchez. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. What a pleasure it is to be here representing the state of New Mexico, and as somebody who has worked diligently with this amazing board of directors for Innovate ABQ, I'm really honored and more importantly humbled to be part of this team. A group of people who both from the private and public sector have simply said, we are no longer going to accept mediocrity in not only Albuquerque but New Mexico. And it's been such a pleasure. For the people who stand up on the stage and those who are out in the crowd today, I want to say thank you on behalf of the state of New Mexico. You know, the mayor mentioned about his university, and I'm really proud because just a couple of months ago, my youngest daughter graduated from the University of New Mexico. And so I'll give you a personal take on it. Too many of our young people who graduate colleges throughout New Mexico or high school, we hear it all the time. Why do they leave the state? Because of lack of opportunity. Instead of us exporting our best products, our goods, our services, our manufacturing goods, we end up far too long exporting our best and our brightest, and that's our young people. Well, I will tell you today that we will look back at not only today's ceremony, but going forward, not only with this particular structure that's about to go up, but what we're doing right here in the heart of the state's largest community, to simply say we will no longer accept the idea that New Mexico's best and brightest will be exported. We always talk about potential in New Mexico, and we have great minds here, some of the greatest in the world. This entire endeavor will allow us to come together not only as a city, but as a state, to ensure that we don't give excuses for anybody to ever have to leave our state because of what innovation, entrepreneurship, and what it means to grow the next generation of business leaders and people who can grow our new economy in New Mexico. That's why I'm in it. And as I travel around all 33 counties of New Mexico, representing the state of New Mexico and being a voice for this effort, I'm really proud to know that people across the state are excited. They're expecting and demanding that we offer these type of opportunities to our children. And I'm really proud. And I want to thank members of the legislature that are here. I see Representative Atkins, Senator Ortiz-Pino. We have good support in very tough budget times up in Santa Fe, but the commitment is strong from the state of New Mexico. So let me encourage you to stick with it. For those that are here inquiring about what this means, we're going to look back and say it was at this time that Albuquerque, that New Mexico put a line in the sand and simply said, no more. We are going to do everything we can to keep the best and our brightest. And I believe this, that not only Albuquerque, but our entire state has the opportunity and the ability to compete with anybody, any place, anywhere. And I'm proud to be a part of it. So thank you very much. At this time, let me introduce Dr. Harry Pappas. He is the CEO of BioSafe Technologies. Dr. Harry.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank STC for inviting me to speak today on behalf of the student body of UNM. But I also want to take this opportunity to share my perspective of New Mexico. Unlike many people, I haven't lived in New Mexico my whole life. I moved here 5 years ago from a faraway place called Massachusetts. Maybe you've heard of it. I moved here 5 years ago to attend graduate school at UNM. UMass was great, it was everything I needed, but something that kind of stands out to me, quick story. I remember in our engineering department there was this minor offered called engineering management, and I really didn't know much about this minor because, to be honest, no one participated in it. The faculty didn't emphasize it, they didn't push it, and on top of that you needed an astronomically high GPA to even qualify. So I was not a part of that minor program. I don't know anyone else who was, but that's something I think about a lot. The fact that there was a program but that no one participated in it. I think that a lot of engineering students, it's a pretty brutal process is going through undergrad, and a lot of the students probably come to the thought, is this really overlapping with what I'll be expected to do when I get a real job in the real world? Are all these homeworks really going to translate into a real life success? And I think a lot of people feel the same way about me. Just in the past few months, there have been articles written in the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, many others, and they all basically pose the same question, which is going to a four-year university still worth it? Going to school has never been more expensive than it is today. but at the same time, more people are attending college than ever before. As a result, students are always looking for a way to stand out and separate themselves from the pack. I think it's pretty evident to me that Innovate ABQ and the Innovation Academy are really good opportunities for undergrads and graduate students at UNM to really separate themselves from the pack. In particular, there's a few core skill sets that employers are looking for: communication, teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking. And I think all of those, in some way or another, can be learned from these new opportunities that are arising here in Albuquerque. Now, I mentioned something that bothered me about this engineering management program, this minor, was the fact that the astronomically high GPA requirement. If you didn't have a 4.0, you couldn't get in, forget about it. And so you might imagine I was quite happy to learn just this morning that the Innovation Academy here does not have a GPA requirement. I actually think that's really important. I'm sure that there's some overlap between having a good GPA, being book smart. I'm sure there's no overlap between being book smart and entrepreneurship. I'm sure there's no overlap between being book smart and being creative and innovative and all that, but they're certainly not mutually exclusive. So in a way, these new programs being offered, actually, the people who stand to benefit the most are those people who don't want to be defined by their GPAs. So, in conclusion, I think these new programs are really going to allow people to surround themselves with other people with similar motivations, similar goals for innovation and creativity. I think entrepreneurship is all about succeeding and failing, and if you're surrounded by other people who are just as motivated as you are, they'll pick you right back up and you can try it all over again. So in conclusion, I think both these programs, Innovate ABQ, Innovation Academy, are really outstanding opportunities for undergrads and graduate students here in UNM. Looking forward to being a part of it in the future. Thank you all for your time. And now I'll introduce the Managing Director of Signet Development, Jason Perry.
Thank you, Harry. Good morning, everyone. And thank you all for coming to celebrate a significant milestone in the development of a true innovation district for the city of Albuquerque. As you can imagine, the Lobo Rainforest project, and especially the Innovate ABQ district, has been many years in the making. Signet Development was first introduced to this project over 2 years ago, just as the idea of an innovation district in downtown Albuquerque was starting to gel. Our mission was very clear from day one: work with the Innovate ABQ stakeholders and help create a project that would serve as a catalyst for future business development, recruitment, job creation, and create an environment where people want to be. It is essential that this initial project provide all the elements to be a catalyst of things to come right here at the corner of Central and Broadway. The Lobo Rainforest will house 310 of the brightest and most ambitious students at the University of New Mexico, and they will have all of the tools of innovation right at their fingertips. UNM's Innovation Academy will teach the importance of entrepreneurship in today's economy. STC.UNM will offer students in wider business community the resources it needs to start and grow business. Air Force Research Labs will help offer cutting-edge technology and tools for the community's use. And the project will also feature pop-up retail space where new food and merchandise concepts can be tested in the broader market. This will be a place in Albuquerque where anyone looking to create or grow a business will be. Of course, we have so many people to thank that put their faith in our team to move this project forward. First, I'd like to thank Terry Laudick and the entire Innovate ABQ board for their support throughout this process. We'd like to thank Mayor Berry and his entire team at the City of Albuquerque. The city has been an absolute pleasure to work with throughout the entire process to keep this project on schedule. I'd like to thank the members of our development team at Signet who've dedicated countless hours and significant financial resources to make this project happen. First, I'd like to thank our chairman, Tony Manna, our CEO, King Chris Manth, our development team of Ed Popple, Spencer Hyatt, and Bruce Wise. Thank you to Jane's Construction Group, who can't wait for us all to get out of here so they can start construction, obviously. I'd like to thank our project partner and architect, Decker Paris Sabatini. Dell Decker has been a partner in the truest sense, and thank you, Dell, for all that you have done for this project and for this community. Of course, thank you, Dell. Of course, without the University of New Mexico, none of this would be possible. President Frank, thank you for your vision. The team around you are nothing short of amazing. A few people to point out that have really helped to get us where we are today: David Harris, Lisa Kutula, Tom Neal, and Andrew Cullen. Thank you very much for your tireless effort to make things possible. So in closing, we'd like to congratulate Innovate ABQ, the University of New Mexico, and all the residents of Albuquerque. Signet Development is involved in the development of innovation districts throughout the country, and we've experienced firsthand how they can bring a community together and spur economic development. While it's exciting to come together and celebrate the start of this remarkable building, what is truly exciting is the start of an innovation district that Albuquerque can call its own. Our team won't stop working for you until we see the entire vision of the district realized. Thank you for putting your faith in us, and congratulations.
3. All right.